Hi and welcome to this video log with me, Wayne from swimmingcyclingrunning.com. Well, this week we're continuing the series that I set out last week of improving my wife's running whilst we were in Cape Verde just over Christmas, or just after Christmas. We started last week with some drills, and we're going to go on this week to actually introduce hurdles, little hurdles that we can run over. We're first going to start with a recap, and then we're going to go on to the other things. So we'll go immediately to the computer and have a look from there. When you start doing drills, you don't want to leave it a long time before you redo them, re-emphasise them, and therefore teach yourself how to do them. So this is the next day, and it's a complete drill session. So we're re-emphasising the ones we did yesterday. So we're starting with butt flicks, slightly slower than I'd like. But if I slow that down, you'll see that Shelley's now landing her foot nicely under her centre of gravity. And if I stop that, you'll see that also we've got this nice slight forward lean that runners have when they're trying to let gravity help them run. So that's really nice. So we're going forward using butt flicks, and we're going to go backwards just with that backwards running. You can see that's a nice bouncy little stride she's got there. Next, we're just using an adaptation of the high knees drill, where we've got our arms perpendicular to our body, and we're trying to hit those hands with our knees every time. Shelley's not quite doing it. Now, for anyone who thinks that these are easy, they aren't. Drills are actually difficult, and you get a very good session out of them. Again, backwards bounce on the way back. And finally, we're just going to re-emphasise the sideways running drill so that we really are nicely bouncing along. Now we're starting with the hurdles, and you'll note these aren't too far apart. What I've asked Shelley to do is actually have 2 feet in each section, so you'll see what happens. Now we've got a little bit of a jump forward off the left foot here, which we don't want. So this is the second time through, and you'll see Shelley's getting the more even step. And as she gets used to it, things start to become a little more fluent, and the feet start hitting the ground a little faster. We then need to take this one step further, and the way we do that is by only having 1 foot strike in each of these sections. The sections are exactly the same width as they were before. And you can see we've got a nice running style. We're going to come straight back and do that again. And as Shelley gets used to it, again, it becomes better and better. And I've slowed this down. And you can see it's a nice fast footfall. I'll speed it up again. And we've got starting to get the elements we want to see when Shelley runs. So things seem to be going reasonably well. As we progress, things are flowing more smoothly through, and hopefully Shelley will from this start realising that she can start relaxing that upper body, which, if you look, is actually still quite stiff. So to progress that slightly further, we're have Shelley take a run up, so she's going through this slightly faster. So we're hoping to develop really fast feet in Shelley, and as you can see, a slightly lighter footfall as she goes through. To take that one step further, just to progress it a little more, we've taken away some hurdles and extended the distance between them. I've asked Shelley to run quite fast all the way through. First time, a bit awkward, but as she became to get used to it, we started to get a more flowing running style. And we're going to go straight back from there, through again. Notice we're taking quite a long run up to try and get some speed generated before we get in. And you can see that's quite a smooth running style there. If you're running any distance, economy of movement is hugely important. So you want to get all your movement actually driving you in the direction you want to go. It's exactly the same as swimming. You want everything to move you forward, and anything that doesn't move you forward, you actually want to eliminate, because it's just wasted muscle energy. What we're trying to get Shelley to do is drive off the landing foot a bit more, as we can see she's doing there. I'm just going to take that back, and we'll see that as she lands, she drives and lifts that ankle on recovery, and again drives and lifts that ankle on recovery. Far better than it was before. She's looking down at the hurdles, but that's understandable. We have that slight forward lean, and everything's looking better than it did originally. Taking a look at that from the front, we can see that Shelley looks more stable and steady than she did before, and taking a look at it in slow motion, her hips don't seem to be doing the dip that they did when we originally took pictures of her, and it's a much more fluent type of running style. Now looking at this from behind, we can see it does seem to be a much smoother run there. If we take that back, the hips don't seem to be rocking side to side like they did. We'll run it through same speed as they did. It's a much faster footfall. There's no gap whilst we slow down and speed up. It seems to be a smooth, solid run. That's nice for a first 2 days of the training here in Cape Verde, because that looks a much smoother runner than we had 2 days ago. We finished everything off with just some 100-metre runs around the tennis court. And you can see that although Shelley's heel isn't recovering quite as high as it did when she was running over the hurdles, we haven't got that stop-start motion, especially if I slow it down. We've got a more continuous run than we had on the first day. So this is a nice development for just effectively 1 day of drills that we've done. The use of hurdles are really good for Shelley, and I think it's good for most people because it creates that barrier that you actually have to get over. When Shelley went back to ordinary running, it wasn't quite as good as she was running over the hurdles. Mind you, this is only the second day of a 10-day stay in Sal, and Shelley has never, ever, ever done drills before. So I think she's taken to it quite well. Whenever you begin something new like drills, you want to take it in steps, and that's exactly what we did with the hurdle work that you saw today. You saw us take it 2 steps in the hurdle, then 1 step in the same hurdle, then we extended the hurdle even further. Now we could go further than that, but I think for Shelley, and certainly for anyone starting, we don't want to make them drive off the back foot too much, because that could actually cause some damage if they're trying to overextend themselves, and it might not lead to good biomechanics. So what we would do next is actually extend those hurdles further and further, so you have to take a bigger and bigger stride, driving off the foot and therefore practicing effectively getting faster running. Okay, so that's it for this week. Hopefully that's been useful to you. Next week it will be the last in this series. We don't have to take you through day to day, we're just showing you the different things that happen, and we're going to compare obviously start to finish. Also next week we start using the drone footage that we took whilst we were there. Okay, have a wonderful week, enjoy your training. It's raining cats and dogs out yet again. Keep warm, keep dry, keep well. Bye bye.